Why are Gen Z men saying fuck off to feminism? Yesterday, BBC News shared an article that showed the widening gap between Gen Z men and Gen Z women, with a particular trend showing that Gen Z women are becoming more progressive and Gen Z men are becoming more conservative. Now, this is nothing new. It was shown that this was happening in America before, and it's happening across the West. And for me, it's incredibly fucking obvious why this is happening. Because feminism and the left in the present day do absolutely nothing to support men. They do the opposite. They demonise, they stigmatise, and they ignore their problems. Why would young men be drawn to an ideology that on the surface at least comes across like it hates men for being men? And that is not what feminism is meant to be about. In theory, according to some definitions, it is meant to be about gender equality. But all you need to do is chat to the average feminist or see the average feminist influencer on social media, point out some of the inequalities that men face, such as in the education system, such as in mental health care, and such as how the economy is changing today with the decline of traditional jobs. Do they care? No, absolutely not. But what will they do? They will blame men for it. They will say it is the fault of men themselves. It's the patriarchy. Men have built this system, therefore it's their fault. But when it comes to women's inequality, it's a systemic problem, which is weird, because when it's men's issues, it's them that's the problem. It comes from inside. But for women, everything else is outside. Again, it's men's fault. And the reason they do this most of the time is because they're fucking ignoramuses. They haven't done their research. They haven't looked at the data. They haven't seen that inequality exists for both men and women and that it's desirable to address both of them. And they also haven't done the own self-reflection to see that the stance they're taking of pointing the finger at men and blaming them rather than trying to address the problems is a reflection of their own ego and refusal to accept changing information. And the problem with this is it's created an enormous vacuum where you have a lack of male support on the left. So it's all come from the right, who are not much better either. It's just led the way for this very fixed traditional idea of masculinity, where if you don't conform to it, you're seen as a beta male or a soy boy. But the left are in complete denial about how they're aiding this side of the right, and they will say something like what I'm saying now, as a more neutral observational stance, is akin to that. They will say that anybody who dares to criticise feminist ideology or woke ideology must be a Tate-supporting right-winger. And people can see through that bullshit. They're sick of it. And guess who most of the people are that are sick of this? The young men, the ones who are being told by those people that they're the bad ones. So what does feminism need to do? Start fucking listening to the problems that men are facing and stop pretending that they don't exist, because inequality can exist for both sexes. Check out leading male inequality experts like Richard Reeves. Check out the American Institute for Boys and Men. Check out the All-Party Political Group for Boys and Men. Start looking into the crisis of masculinity. You can read a fantastic article by a feminist author called Christine Ember in the New York Times discussing the problems that men are facing. Because when more feminists start taking male inequality seriously too, because it is not beneficial to society as a whole, then we will have less of this divide. Men are not collectively bad as an entire gender, but I'll tell you who are collectively bad: people who believe that they are. And what will those people often identify themselves as? The word begins with an F.
You just saw talk about how Gen Z men are different from Gen Z women. Men, conservative, traditional. Gen Z women, liberal, progressive. When it comes to how they look at Gen Z men, they look more like, I put it this way, feminists look, with a very anti-male mentality. Like, for example, they think that they don't look at men's mental health as something important. Let me see, I'll give a good example. When it comes to mental health for women, they get tons of support. Unfortunately, female suicide is still a thing, but for every one female that commits suicide, there's almost 4 times the number of males who commit suicide. Why is that? Women get way more support. The men don't get that much support. What support we get is not that much, or not as, as detailed, structured to where men would benefit. Women are incentivized to get a career, get careers, get degrees, and in some cases, well, not some cases, in a lot of cases, women are incentivized to leave relationships, especially marriages. You know, hypergamy, find something better. Like you have a good man for protect, provide, but he doesn't make over 6 figures. She's encouraged to try to go for the guy who does. Now the problem is though, you go for the guy that makes 6 figures, that's a small pool of men. So she got to compete against a lot of other women. What about the guy who loses out? He loses out all the money he saves up, loses custody of the kids, and he suffers emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So in short though, this generation, Generation Z, is so beyond screwed. The moment you walk away from traditionalism, you're walking towards self-destruction. Simple as that. Feminism, as far as I'm concerned, feminism is not about equality. Basically, like in a lot of places, they got equality, but it's no longer about equality. It's about supremacy. Looks like they want the good men to be underneath their feet, to pay for everything and do everything, while they give their best in terms of physically, in terms of intimacy and sexually, to the Chads, Pookies, Ray Rays, Tyrells. Translation, they want more of a validation and admiration. They want to be worshipped like God. And according to God's first commandment, that does not fly. But what do you think, folks? Think I'm being too harsh, too critical? Or do you think I gave you something to at least think about what comes to the future of Gen Z? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Peace.